reason to stay alive, if that's what I am.
Love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space.
And don't forget, I'm also just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her.
It rushes through me, a current or a breeze.
My name is Denton Pangelinan. I'm a photographer / videographer. So what got me into photography and videography is I was going through a state of depression, and I remember telling myself that I needed to get out of the house, and I already had a drone and I had a camera. I just never bothered to pick it up, and I would rather stay home and play game. But during that depression phase, I realized that was not the smart thing to do, I guess. So what I ended up doing was I sold my PS4, and I told myself, look, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna take some pictures. And yeah, from there, that was back in 2017, and from there I started hiking. I started shooting more, and I did it alone. I hiked alone. I hiked a couple of stuff in Washington by myself, and then I met a good friend of mine. His name's Ray, and Ray Terregezo. We shared the same similarities. We liked it, we liked taking photos, and since then we started going everywhere, to downtown Seattle, to abandoned areas, trying to urban explore. Pretty much urban exploration is what it's called. And we would just take pictures, and this was every weekend when we were off. And then eventually we started hiking, and I met one of my good friends, Rita, in Alessio, from a good friend of mine in high school. Her name's Anne. She told me her sister was there and she likes to hike. So I hit her up one time and I told her hey, do you want to go hiking? And from there we started hiking. And while we were hiking, she was doing videos, but on her cell phone, and here I was taking photos with my camera. And she started learning the ins and outs of the cameras, and she started following me and Ray more often, and we started taking photos and videos. And at that point in time, I felt the most happiest I've ever been, and that was just through photography, and so I started hiking, I started taking photos, and it was my happy place. It became a passion, something that I absolutely love to do, and I will continue to do it. And every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, I was going hiking, taking photos. And then when I was in the military and we have 4-day weekends from Friday to Monday, we'll go drive around and take photos, and we would hike. Sometimes we would hike literally all 4 days I was off. And then we drove down to Canada, we drove to California, to Oregon, and we were taking photos in every state that we went to. And sometimes it was just up in the air, hey, do you want to go to Cali, which is a 12-hour drive, if I can recall. And we started doing that and taking photos out of state from Washington. And then after that, I came back in 2017 for Christmas, and I was discovering the industry here in Saipan, and there wasn't really a market for the industry. And I figured, why not come back and take the opportunity to learn and grow here in Saipan.
Buenas and half a day, Saipan. It's your boy Denton Pangelinan coming to you with DNR visuals.
So I came back and I was studying the market, and I figured that there was only two main companies that I heard about, and these were from I heard about these companies from friends, and it was Cello Photos and Lauren Benson were the two main photographer and company that I continuously like heard about. And I'm like, oh, it's the perfect time to come home and try, and specialize in something that we're comfortable with. So I started going to school at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and I was taking classes on the basics and advance of digital photography and film production. And it wasn't until I moved back to Saipan that I got into videography more than I did more than I had when I was stateside in Hawaii, for example, which was just more drone videography. And then when I came here to Saipan, I started focusing and polishing the videography side, because I knew I had this creativity in me, and I really wanted to express it. Other than doing photos, I really wanted to express all this creativity I had in mind through like a video, so when I wrote some films and when I shoot some videos, my whole intent and my whole purpose is I want the audience and I want people to understand I want them to feel the emotional connection in every video that I ever make, and hopefully I achieved that. It had happened too from the short film that I wrote and produced called Remember Me, and it was about the struggles of post-traumatic stress disorder that veterans suffer. And I wanted to take the audience into the mind of somebody that was suffering through it and the daily battles and struggles that they feel every day. And I felt like I accomplished that emotional connection when we put out the video, because people were feeling it, people were crying, they were coming up to us and saying like this was a heart-touching film. And that's what I want to be known for. I want to be known for that guy that does photos and videos for a passion. And that's the whole reason why I decided to shoot this documentary series and bring in other artists that has that passion to go out and do whatever it is that they love, whether it's photography, videography, graphic design, cooking, or motivational speech, speaker, like anything that takes them from a dark place and brings them into this happy cloud9 feel. And I think that's what most people need to understand about artists like myself, is when it's a passion, when it becomes a passion, nothing in the world is gonna stop us from doing what we love. And yeah, so this is the story about artists and the passion that they have for whatever it is that they do. And I'm thinking we will name this A Splash of Passion. I like that.
Something that's very important that I want everyone to actually realize is closed mouths don't get fed. So if there's a problem or you want to do something, say it, try it out. It's always going to work out for the best.